This meeting of the Cabinet, and we will begin with apologies for absence. Karen.
Apologies from Councillor Rowell and Councillor Weirman and Councillor Thompson as well.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Councillor Catherine Seymour gives her apologies as well.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we move on to disclosure of members' interests. You've read all the papers and reports in the budget. Have any of you got any declarations of interest to make? Okay, if not, then we move on to the first paper, which is around the budget. And we had a good session yesterday at the joint scrutiny meeting where we discussed the budget, and of course the budget will carry on its progress till we get to the council meeting in a couple of weeks' time. I'm not planning to say anything on it this morning, but Jan, I wondered if you wanted to just touch on anything within the report generally, please, if Jan Willis is here with us. Yay,
yes,
there we are.
I am. Thank you, Leader. Sorry.
Thank you.
Having a bit of trouble with my Zoom buttons this morning. I think members will be aware that the budget is predicated on the provisional local government finance settlement. The one thing which I did just want to add, and this is hot off the press because we've only just received the details this morning, is that we have now had the final local government settlement, and there are some very minor changes, so nothing that will have any material impact on the budget proposals that are in front of you. But I will, we are still working through the detail of the final settlement, and I will provide an update after this meeting. But as I say, at first glance, it doesn't look as if anything significant has changed from the provisional settlement.
Super. That's helpful. Thank you very much indeed, Jan. Don't see any questions. So this report went to the scrutiny meeting yesterday, and there are some recommendations there from that committee, and it was around savings in adult care and how will they be delivered, children's services and new homes bonus fair funding review. We also talked about the housing rents, and so what we'll do is we will do the work necessary on these points that were raised, but they're useful recommendations. I'm grateful to scrutiny. We will pick those up. There are some changes to the recommendations, which are in 43 and 44 in the report. They relate to the delegation of authority for finalising and also making any in-year amendments to the LTP, the Local Transport Plan, and the UNC roads funding, which we, as you know, have agreed. Both those recommendations allocate the responsibility to the leader of the County Council when it actually needs to rest with the relevant portfolio holder, which is the Cabinet Member for Environment and Local Services. So we need to make that change. Similarly, recommendation 43 needs to be altered to that extent as well. And also 44, which is to approve the delegation of the detail of the capital allocation for highways and maintenance investment in U&C roads and footpaths to the Executive Director responsible for local services and the Cabinet Member for Environment and Local Services. So with those changes, if we can agree those changes, can we? Yep. So therefore, in that case, can I take you to the recommendations on the paper? They are there for your reference. There are a number of recommendations. Can I have a proposer and seconder, please? Proposed by Councillor Horncastle. Yeah, and seconded by Councillor Patterson. Yes, thank you. I can't quite see your head.
It was my hand.
It was your hand, was it? Sorry, it's difficult to see past Colin Horncastle. So, all in favour, please show. That's unanimous. Thank you very much for that. We're just going to take a quick trip back in the agenda because we need to just cover the minutes, which were the minutes of the 11th of January as circulated. Can I agree that these minutes are a true record? Proposed by Councillor Patterson and seconded by Councillor Watson. Are you all in favour of that? And that's unanimous. Councillor Horncastle?
I wasn't there, Mr. Chairman.
Ah, that's right.
If you had a minute, you'll see I wasn't there.
Yes, very good. Thank you. So then we move on to paper B, which is the approval of revenues and benefits policies for 2022 to 23. Very important report. I'm going to ask Jan to give us an overview of this. Please, Jan.
Yes, thank you, Leader. We bring the revenues and benefits policy documents to Cabinet and to Council every year for approval. Ordinarily, they form part of the budget and council tax report. However, this time we've separated them out into their own standalone report. I think for the most part, it's about tidying up minor amendments to the policies to ensure that they remain in line with national regulations. I think the most significant thing to highlight in terms of this year's bundle of policies is the proposal to establish a council tax hardship fund, which would allow the council to pay to apply a £150 rebate to council tax for working age claimants. And in the current environment, I'm sure Cabinet will recognise the need for us to provide whatever additional help that we can to residents on lower incomes to help them with their bills, of which council tax is one. So that's the most significant change that's proposed, but I'm happy to take questions on any of the policies that are in front of you.
Thank you very much, Jan. We have discussed these at some length in previous meetings. Are there any comments, any questions from anyone? If not, can I have a proposal for the recommendation, please? Proposed by Councillor Watson, seconded by Councillor Horncastle. All in favour, please show. Lovely, that's unanimous. Thank you very much indeed. We move on to paper C, which is the budget consultation report. I'll just briefly take you through this. We do have Phil Hunter with us this morning. Good morning, Phil. He may want to add something to this. As you know, last year, for the first time, we began a public consultation online to help us with the budget last year, and it proved very useful. So we decided to do the same thing again this year. So for the second time, the council has done an online consultation with the public. We had around 300 responses, and they were all very valuable. And I'd like to thank again those people who took the trouble to give their comments. You will see that they are very much taking the same key priorities as important as we do. And therefore, we are very grateful for that. And we're going to carry on consulting on the budget in this way, and we hopefully this time in the autumn we'll be able to do, instead of an online consultation, we'll be able to do some public meetings, because I think that is definitely the way most of us would prefer to do it, because having the public's views is incredibly important for the council, because after all we are fulfilling the wishes of residents, so therefore it's important that they have their say and we listen to that. So there you are, that's the report. Again, I'd say I'm very grateful to everyone who made the effort to help us with that. There is a response from scrutiny, which is that the committee looked at this paper, agreed that it was satisfactory, and but they did ask that they could have some input into the draft questionnaire for this coming one, and I think that's an excellent idea. I'd be more than happy to agree that. So if we could minute that, please, Karen. That's what I would like to see happen. So with that, can I ask you if you are in favour of the recommendation, please? Councillor Poshchai is proposing, and Councillor Patterson is seconding. Are you all in favour, please? That's unanimous, so that's agreed. Thank you very much indeed. Moving on to paper D, we are going to need to have some input, unfortunately, because Councillor Renner-Thompson is on leave this week. I'm worried about Kath McAvoy-Carr, who's got a very bad throat. So what I'm going to do instead, unless you wish to speak to this one, I'll just see if there are any questions. So we've been through this report 2 times over the past couple of weeks. Are there any questions or any points anyone would like to make on this? No? Okay, so with that, can I thank you very much for all the work that you and your staff have put into this. Is there a proposer for this? Councillor Poschai? Proposed and seconded by Councillor Horncastle. So could you all vote, please, on the recommendations? That's unanimous, so thank you very much indeed for that. We then move to the next one, which is paper E, which is the Northumberland Fire and Rescue Service Community Risk Management Plan, the 2022-26 paper that is out for consultation at the moment. We have seen this as well a couple of times, and I believe this has been around all the local area councils, so thank you very much to those members of staff of the Fire and Rescue Service for doing all the local area councils and getting views there. And I think it's fair to say that there have been a number of responses to the consultation, all of which will be fed in, and we do have a copy of the risk management plan with us, which is a very, very good document and very well laid out and very clear. So Councillor Horncastle, would you like to talk about this? This is in your area of responsibility.
Thank you, Councillor Sanderson. Yeah, I mean, I think this is one of the most widely seen and heard documents that we've had for a while, because, like Councillor Sanderson has just said, it's been to all the local area councils, and it is out of consultation. And what it is obviously it is what it is. It's the 4-year community risk management plan, but the document itself, is like the leader says, is a very good document. It went through scrutiny last week with nothing but positive comments. But the important thing about this is that things are actually changing in Northumberland, and the Fire and Rescue Service has to change with it. And 3 of the most important things, apart from the normal things you'd expect in this document about what it does and how it interacts with the council, how it interacts with the community, how it's probably the most visible blue light service since reduction in budgets for the ambulances and police, is the fact that it's looking ahead, because we've got the 3 big changes in Northumberland are British Volt, which has its own specific fire risks, the Northumberland line and the developments, the mixed developments down the Northumberland line, and the ageing population, which actually brings about your extra risk itself for the ageing population. So it's an excellent document. Everybody's seen it, mostly very positive comments, so I would commend it to the Cabinet.
Excellent, thank you very much indeed. Any questions on this, or any points anyone would like to raise? I think we all very much agreed that this is a very good document and a very good consultation exercise. Can I take you to the recommendations? Would anyone like to propose that? It's a recommendation about the noting of the community risk management plan, and that Cabinet members will contribute to the consultation. Proposed by Councillor Patterson, seconded by Councillor Watson. Are you all in favour, please? That's fine, thank you. Excellent. So we now move on to paper F. And I don't know that we have an officer to present these, so I will just go through them. The Hexham High Street Heritage Action Zone. Wojciech, would you like to talk to this one?
Yes, I can quickly tell about that. Cabinet is asked to for an additional allocation of £835,000 for public realm improvement scheme in Hexham, which is part of the High Street Heritage Action Zone. And we have been recommended 3 options. The first one was not really, hasn't provided any value for money, and the same was with the third one. which was basically too expensive with little improvements in comparison to option 2. Therefore, we are recommended to go with option 2, which will cost £1.4 million to regenerate the High Street in Hexham, with additional allocation of £835,000, as mentioned before.
Thank you, Wojciech. Very important piece of work, this. Would you like to comment, Rick, about? No? Okay, so it's really putting our money where our mouth is on this one, that we are prepared to find the extra money in order to keep this really important piece of work in Hexham going. So I'll take all the recommendations at the end. So we'll move on to the next one, which is about public conveniences. As you know, many councils up and down the land are doing their very best to remove public conveniences from their responsibility and passing them on to others or closing them down. We're actually doing completely the opposite in Northumberland, and we are finding a total of £1.5 million to invest and improve our public toilets. The key ones on the list will be Allenmouth, Alnwick, Greenwell Lane, Alnwick in the Shambles, Amble Tourist Information Centre, Amble Broom Hill, Ashington Station Road, Beadnell, Castlegate in Berwick, Spittal in Berwick, Blythe Keel Road, Blythe Marketplace, but they will be part of the town deal. The ones in Craster, which Councillor Patterson continues to talk to me about on a very, very, very regular basis. Fountainhead and Seaton Sluice, Hexham Wentworth Way, Hexham St Mary's Wynd, and that's a really important one, I think, because that's one that has been left to kind of be disused and falling something of disrepair. I think it's a really first-class bit of investment there. It's in a good place for people to be able to access. Holt Whistle, really important. Plessy Woods Country Park, and thanks to members who have raised that. Warkworth Beach and Wooler. Wooler really do need to get freshened up, and that will be partially or wholly funded by our Borderlands money. So there's a list of public conveniences that are really important for local residents and for tourists. The one thing that's not in here that I do really want to add, if we can, is that we must make sure that we get signage correct, because people coming into towns that they don't know, whilst we may spend this money on toilets, people need to know where they are, so correct signage, but also to make sure that we are linked in to the various apps that you can put on your mobile phone. And for example, in Hexham, I tried it out and found there was only one showing up on this particular app, and there are more than that, obviously, in Hexham. So we need to make sure the signage is right. So please, Karen, could you add this to any money that we're spending on public convenience must have that linkage to the app technology and also to signage itself. The next one is around Castle Vale and Coronation Park, Wansbeck Riverside Park in Ashington. These are two specific ones that we want to include in our Parks Enhancement project. Sorry, there's three. There's Castle Vale and Coronation Park in Berwick, and Wansbeck Riverside Park in Ashington. Very important to spend this money there. We found that parks and open space is really important during the COVID months, and we want to make sure that we continue to invest and improve and look after our country parks and open spaces. So this is a, I think, really good thing to be doing. So that's something around £61,660 on those ones that we will actually find. And we will also look to be spending money in others as well. We want to see some work at Plessy, for example. We also want to see some work in the Choppington parish, where we've discussed some options. So we just think that parks are really important, and as I say, we're just going to invest in them and help see them improve. Then we have the Social Housing Decarbonation Fund, and this is around spending money investing in our council houses, particularly around funding climate change and environmental efficiencies, and it will be around 120 homes across Northumberland, including 65 council-owned homes. So that's a really good start, really positive thing to be doing. Quite a significant amount of money, but we think it's worthwhile. We have had grants, and I would just say thank you to our climate change team for their really impressive delivery of central grants to help us with our climate change work. And this is a good example of one here. So, all in all, some very impressive items of new capital expenditure. I think you'll all agree. Are there any questions about any of those? Jeff Watson.
Yes, Chair, thank you. I made a suggestion I think I should share with everyone, that with regard to toilets, which I've been banging on about for a long time because of tourism
Indeed.
and everything else, very, very important. What I've suggested to officers, I'm really pleased with the programme, it's really good, but there are some loos on there which aren't on the list, and I've asked them perhaps they could consult with some parish councils and town councils again and see if they're willing to participate. And, if we're going to do sort of a silver job on one of the loos, perhaps the town council would pay a little bit extra and make it a gold job, and just sort of see there's some improvement. If we don't ask, we won't know, but I know that some of the councils are really keen to see improvements in that area, which would be obviously at no cost to us.
Yeah.
And the officers agreed to do that, so I just wanted to add that to the discussion.
No, thank you. And yes, you go on about loos a lot as well. I should have mentioned that, but didn't. Colin.
Thank you. Well, again, about the toilets, we've got the cabinet here which covers, members from the north, from the west and the southeast. So we can all sort of like relate to some of these, but if I could just go to the two in Hexham. The one that went with car park is up and running, but it is in desperate need of an overhaul. But if you go to the top side of Hexham, where we've got the decline, because the bottom side of Hexham, with its the large car parks and the supermarkets and the new developments that's going on, is actually buzzing. But the top side of Hexham is where we've got the problem. And there is a public toilet in Hexham at the moment, down way past the Abbey, next to the Seal School, but visitors don't know about it, and people who are shopping in the top side of Hexham, it's not handy for them. So yes, you've got toilets in the cafes and the pubs, and there is toilets in Tesco's. But actually in the heart of Hexham, we haven't got a toilet, and this one in St Mary's Wynd, if this is reopened, it will be, all I can say, it will be not just for visitors, but for the people who are shopping there, the locals. This will go down really well, so I think this is excellent money well spent in Hexham, because the top side of Hexham, with what Wojciech's just been talking about, it is in desperate need of refurbishment, the whole of the top side of Hexham. This is a start. Thank
Good,
you.
excellent. Thank you for that. So, before we take the recommendations, I'd like to just add to the public convenience one that that we, we fully endorse this, but we would like to ensure that signage, both physical and virtual, is an integral part of this spend, this investment. And secondly, that the council continues discussions with parish and town councils about the ongoing maintenance and improvement of public toilets, because this won't be the end. I want us to make sure we continue this programme because it's so important. So, can I just add that, Karen, is that if you could do that to that particular one? So then with that addition, we've got the recommendation proposed by Councillor Watson, seconded by Councillor Poshchai, and all in favour? Yep, that's all of us. Thank you very much indeed. So good investment on its way. Thank you. So now we move on to the paper G, which is around the decision taken It's around the use of COVID-related government grants for adult social care. We felt this was really important to help out and ensure the right level of funding. So, unless there's any questions, Councillor Patterson.
Do you want me just to go through this? Why we did it so quickly, Leader? Or On the 14th of September 21, the government made a commitment to support local authorities and social care providers to maintain safe staffing levels over the winter period in the care sector. This was to support providers to maintain a provision of safe care and to retain the services of our very valuable care workers. The allocation of the grant, which was called the Workforce Recruitment and Retention Fund, had to be used between October the 21st, 2021 and March the 31st, 2022. So the Council had to act very quickly to get this sorted out and to alleviate the pressures.
That's lovely. Thank you very much indeed for that. And you are completely with this, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good. Okay, lovely. Well, thank you very much for that. And could I have a proposer for this recommendation? Proposed by Councillor Patterson, seconded by Councillor Poshchai. All in favour? That's everyone. Thank you very much indeed. I don't have any other urgent business unless anyone has. I haven't been informed of any. So with that, can I thank everyone for joining this meeting? We now need to move into the closed session. Can we exclude the press and public for the reasons outlined in the report in front of you? I need a proposer, which is Councillor Poshchai, and seconded by Councillor Patterson. All in favour of that? So we move into closed session, and thank you for joining us today.